I'm Heidi, and I'm here speaking with Dave. We're talking about how to become an AutoCAD power user. Dave, the AutoCAD API has been there forever, the programming interface. How important is that for somebody that wants to really become a power user in AutoCAD?
It is huge. In fact, I remember one of the first things that really sucked me into AutoCAD's power was the fact that it was so customizable. You know, we got Autolisp at a very early age. Other R14 came out, and we had Visual Basic for Applications come out, very robust Visual Basic capability that was free, you know, and then of course now VB.net. And if you've been using the product for a while, I would say probably about 5 years, and you haven't jumped into some of these amazing tools that are also part of what you paid for, you typically want to take the dive at that point. And they're not as hard as people think. In fact, you can even benefit from programming by not even knowing how to program. You can just jump to a bunch of people with no lives who do know how to program and say, hey, I got this problem, you know. And there are so many people on the Autodesk discussion forums and so forth that maybe the routine's already written, and they say, here, just copy paste this to the command prompt and run it, and your problem's solved, you know. Or they're going to point you to a resource, or they're going to teach you how to do it. Autolisp and APIs like that have 25 years of momentum behind them, and so the planet is totally saturated with fantastic resources already.
And now with the internet, it seems like there's just no excuse to not be out there. It's not like 15 years ago or so where people didn't have access.
Right.
With the internet, it's just things are right there at their fingertips.
Yeah, and you know, if I look at Autolisp and Visual Lisp and VBA, which by the way is still supported under the 64-bit Windows 7 platform, you know, it's still a freebie. You know, there's very little excuse for not making that investment. It's not like you have to go out and buy this really, you know, expensive compiler. And it typically takes about 2 to 3 months for somebody to get up to speed on Autolisp for the first time. But once they see the instant gratification that comes from that, then they begin to understand this profound thing that 5 minutes of typing may equal 8 hours of drafting. And so power users do power drafting. That's what I like to call it. You know, they understand that if you leave me alone and just let me type the equivalent of an email, because that's about all the effort it takes, you know, to just put a few lines together in Notepad or whatever, then you can now copy and paste that to the command prompt. You suddenly have a command that does exactly what you need, and you can save yourself tons of time by doing that kind of thing.
And do you have any advice for people that want to do that, for how they might be able to squeeze that time where they're left alone? What can they do to maybe influence their management or users to let them alone for those few minutes?
Well, that's a great question. One of the things I think that helps is that power users are great salesmen. They're great evangelists. They're technology evangelists. And so they'll do the same kind of thing that Autodesk would do. They will put together proof of concepts. They will literally put together a routine that they know will be an instant sell. And then they'll say, you remember all that painful stuff we did last week that took so long? Check this out. And boom, their management or their coworkers see this, and it's a quick sell. You know, so by putting together programs that either they wrote or programs that other people put together and showing them how quickly that provides benefit to their company, I think most companies are more willing to say, maybe we should check this API out.
They'll be begging them to take that time. And
exactly. Yeah. You're now worth more to us, and maybe we don't have to spend so much on this other thing because you now know how to do it, and it's going to be highly customized to what we need, so there's tremendous benefit to getting invested in that technology.
Very good tip. All right. Thank you, Dave.